Hello everyone, how's your day been so far? Today we are working on balance and calves, okay? You'll hear me bang on about this all the time at Duke's, how important it is because of falls prevention. Our muscles start disappearing from the age of 30, so anyone over the age of 30 should really be working on this, okay? And our calves are our first port of call off the ground, so our first muscle group. So if these are stronger, it's obviously going to support our balance. All right, let's get started. All right, guys, we're going to start off with the balancing element of this. We don't want to start with the calf work because we don't want them to fatigue and then it to affect our balance. Okay, all right. So we're going to start with a simple single-legged balance. Now I'm going to take you through all of these. Okay, I want you to pick the ones you can do or the level you can go up to and keep practicing these. Okay, all right. So let's start off single-legged. So 1 foot on the ground and 1 leg off. Okay, so I want you to ideally have your knee up at hip height. Okay, and hands down by your side. If you're finding this a little bit difficult, you can drop your foot a little bit lower and put your arms out as to help you with your balance, okay? But ideally, we want that knee up, shoulders down and back, tummy tight, all those normal rules that we go through, okay? And then obviously, repeat them on the other side. The running rule we have at Duke's, if you can do any of these for a minute, okay, on each side without falling down, you're able to go to the next level, okay? So use that. If you're able to do the ones I just showed you then, a minute either side, and definitely start there, then we'll progress up to the second level, which is arms above your head. So, again, pick a leg, you've got to do both anyway. Knee up to hip height, arms up above your head, okay, and nice and balanced. What this does is create a higher center of gravity. So the pendulum effect that you get if you move is much worse. So that's why it makes this one a little bit more difficult. All right. You also might notice you've got a weak and a strong leg. Okay. Everybody's the same. It's no big deal. Now, commonly, if you're right-handed, your left leg's going to be stronger and vice versa. That's because you're right-handed, not necessarily right-legged. You would, if you're going to use your right hand, you'd lead with your left to use your right hand. Now, if you walk up a step, predominantly a right-hander will go with their left so that their right hand can lead. All right, so remember that and always pick on that weaker one a little bit more because we're always about evening the body up. All right, next, we've got swinging arms. Now, what that means is, again, same position, okay, get yourself nice and steady. Arms out in front. Now what I want you to do is rotate and swing those arms left to right. Now this is constantly changing our center of gravity, okay? The last one, it created a higher center of gravity. With this one, it's changing your center of gravity the whole time, okay? Try and pick a spot on the wall that you can focus on, okay? If you kind of look around, or if we were to rotate our head at the same time as our arms, it's much harder, okay? So make sure you focus on a point with all your balancing and really concentrate. If you've done any of our classes, you'll see that I try to distract everyone when we're doing this one, okay? That's to get you off balance, okay? The last thing I want to tell you about with the balancing is make sure your movements are as low as possible, okay? What I mean is make sure it's your ankle doing the adjustments, not your head or your shoulders or your hips, because the higher the movement, the more pendulum motion you've got going backwards and forwards, okay? And the further you're gonna have to recover. If you've got little movements down low in your ankle, you can recover from that quite easily. All right, the last one for the balancing and the hardest one, okay? Everyone groans when I give this one. So, single-legged, hands down by your side. You may even want them up for this one. What I want you to do is close your eyes, okay? You can see your movement straight away, but fight it. These are the receptors. You can't see anything anymore, so you're having to work between your brain and all those balancing muscles. Now, The reason this is hard is you don't have a horizon to work off anymore. If I have my eyes open and I do that, I know I have to come back this much. If my eyes are closed, I don't know how far I need to come back, and that's when we start seesawing left and right and go down. So I like to, first of all, concentrate that it's only my ankles that are doing the work. Second of all, imagine a horizon when you close your eyes. Visualize a horizon. Then you kind of got something to come back to, and you'll find you become more comfortable with that. Now remember, only go as far as you can, and this is a great one to go back on in the future and see how far you've progressed, because you should be working on this every day, remember guys? All right, so that's the balancing element done. How about we get on to these calves, okay? Now, I've got a step here just for demonstration, okay? You can use a step that's inside the house. You can use a step that's outside. You don't need equipment, guys. You don't need a step like this, all right? The reason we've got the step is so we can use full range of motion, or even more than full range of motion. We can go below neutral, okay? So we're gonna start with a 2 feet calf raise, okay? So what I want is down below neutral and up as high as possible. Down below neutral, up as high as possible, okay? Now, remember, we're going towards the balls of our feet. So we roll towards our big toe. Don't let the foot roll out, okay? Remember that works that poor little muscle on the outside. When we roll towards the inside, we use the belly of the muscle, okay? It's an important one. We want to retrain our foot to do that because it'll prevent injuries down the track. All right, if you're able to do that one, next step, single-legged. So all of a sudden, our body weight's just relying on one foot. When we do this, you lock the other leg behind that foot, okay? Stay nice and steady. This isn't a balancing exercise, okay? So then, up nice and tall, up and down, up and down. Obviously, when we're doing single stuff, it's very important to do both sides. I always like to pick on the weaker side first, just so I don't overdo it with the strong side and can't match it with the weaker side. Now you'll see that I was holding on here. Make sure you're holding on to something. That's not a balancing exercise. Although I say that now, the next one and the last one I'm going to do combines both of them. So we don't need the step anymore. Make sure you don't do this one on a step. Okay, feet shoulder width apart, hands behind you. And I want you to come up and stay up, okay? There's a lot of balance involved here, but we've also got those calves activated. They're in full flexion the whole time, okay? Doesn't matter if you're wobbling around or your heels come close to the ground, or even if they come down, big deal, pop back up. Just see if you can get a minute of this one as well. It's a lot to ask for, especially towards the end of the workout, but now that the fatigue's kicked in, we can try out both the balancing and your calf strength that we've both used and see where it's at, okay? Gently down, all right. Always shake them off, okay? I like to do that in between sets, but I'm also going to show you now how to stretch your calves the best way possible, okay? And I'm going to use the step again. You can do this against a wall or on your step at home. Doesn't matter, as long as we get the heel as far under as possible and our toe up as high as possible. It may not be that far, that's no big deal. What you then want to do is align your hip, knee, and your ankle, okay? And you want to lean forward with your hips. Now make sure you've got something to grab onto. This is definitely not balancing or strength. We're just stretching here. So the further your hips come forward, the more of a stretch you're going to get. If you try and do this, there's no stretch. You're not going to get any stretch at all. Up nice and tall, okay? And hips come forward. You'll even get more stretch if you lean back, but just worry about these hips coming forward. And remember from all the other ones, 15 seconds or longer on the stretches. Please stretch your calves. They're prone to cramping, okay? So this is really important. Swap sides. It's also a good one to do after walking. We use our calves a lot when we walk, okay? Again, hips forward, up nice and tall. Feel a really strong stretch inside that calf. Well done, guys. Remember the breathing. Haven't brought that up much in this one. And gently coming off. shake them off again, and you're all done. Well done, guys. Great job. Well done, guys. I hope you're feeling all balanced up and quite strong and tight in those calves right now. That's okay, that'll all disappear. You may be a little sore over the next couple of days, but again, that'll get better and better as you go. I want you to remind you that I want you to do balancing as often as possible. You can literally do it every day. It is the most important thing in here, and I know I tell you this all the time, but it's good to have a reminder, considering you're not in here at the moment, to get it done as often as possible, okay? And just another point, remember, the calves get tired and they can cramp. So I don't mind even if you stretch in between every set, that's absolutely fine, but don't let them get to a point where they're gonna cramp, okay? Because you can't come back from there. All right, today's tip. I'd like you guys to think of someone that you haven't spoken to since all this COVID-19 started, and someone that doesn't necessarily need to be super important to you, but just someone that's in your life. Give them a buzz, see how they are. I did it the other day to an old schoolmate of mine, and it's rekindled a bit of a friendship, and we both felt really good afterwards. So give it a go, it worked for me. All right, see you later, guys.